New water bottle?
No, it's BB's.
Why do you never get your own water bottles?
Because when I lost mine, I feel you have to wait. You have to have a period of mourning before you can buy a new one. It's similar with AirPods. It feels buying one straight away feels like you're destined to lose it again, and then it's sort of a endless cycle. You know, when you lose something, you have to.
Yeah, I swear we discussed that a month ago.
Yes.
So how long's the period of mourning? 2 months?
No, yeah, it's a longer period of mourning for a bottle.
Yeah. I
So
do
I'm emotionally
like
attached.
I do like just changing the vocabulary of laziness to
It's a period of mourning.
a period of respect and decorum for what used to be.
My bottle is lying in state. I had I had 2 bottles and I lost both of them, so that's why it's an extended period of mourning.
Do you think bottle's a bit like party, that we need a better word with it because it's pretty pathetic? Like
Bottle?
A bottle, because it's also kind of reminiscent of a titty milk bottle when you're a baby.
Bottle?
Babies have bottles. Men have
A beer bottle isn't lame.
a bottle.
A bottle of beer.
A bottle.
Can I have a bottle of beer? 2 bottles of beer, please, for me and my friends.
Sounds lame.
No, that sounds
2
hot.
bottles of beer for me and my friends.
For me and my chums would rather enjoy
2 bottles of
2
beer?
bottles of beer, please. What would you call it? What would it be? Something more like, a Bosnan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I was thinking exactly that word.
Well, like a Bosnan.
A Bosnan. 2 Bosnans of beer, please, chum.
That does sound pretty badass.
A bottle.
Where's your water Bosnan?
Well, well, you need to get one. Just like grow up and get one.
I do need to get one.
How many bottles Bosnans does BB have?
BB has 3 Bosnans.
Because there's another Bosnan over there.
And I've got 2 of her Bosnans.
Right. Because she can be trusted to maintain her 1 Bosnan.
Yeah, she understands what I'm going through. She understands that I'm grieving. She understands that I'm currently...
Right, so
she
she's just
understands
here.
my Bosnan's lying in state. So.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I've got new sunglasses from Slovenia.
I've just seen,
Yeah, we went to the mother country. I've just got back from a week-long trip to Slovenia with my father. I like always saying with my father.
It's not a euphemism.
Yeah, it just sounds... Going to Slovenia with your father does sound like a wristy round the back of a gas station.
It does, yeah. It really does.
Are
these are...
He likes to go to Slovenia with his father, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and go to glory holes around the country and see what the talent's saying. But are these a serious purchase or
no?
like
I got these for the podcast.
For the podcast, yeah.
Because I saw them in a gas station in Slovenia, and it's like
how much?
This is where these I think they're like literally like probably like 10 quid.
Yeah. Oh, they are trash, aren't they?
Real trash.
It's when they're so light.
Yeah.
It's the flimsiness of that plastic is really something.
But it was more in Slovenia. That's kind of where this aesthetic came from. The polarized sunglasses being worn sincerely.
Well, isn't that
Eastern
like
Europe? Is
when we're saying Italians doing?
I don't think they do.
I
don't think
Milan Italians.
No, Milan Italians don't do They don't have the ski aesthetic. Milan Italians, they wear like white trainers with a suit. That's kind of like Milano. But Eastern Europe, it's sort of like hardcore techno. You're wearing your ski glasses and you're kind of your body popping aggressively. That's sort of how I imagine Eastern Europe. But Slovenia, full of surprises. We went to Slovenia because none of us had been, so we thought, why not? It was a totally random trip. It was definitely...
Who suggested it?
I think my dad did, because he was just being random.
Yeah.
So we randomly went to Slovenia, and it felt pretty random being there. I'm not gonna lie. It really felt like you feel like you should be in Slovenia if you've got.
Well, I feel like you always go to these kind of places. I'm never surprised when you're off to like somewhere because you manage to get your neck out somehow. You always manage to duck and dive.
And it had a feeling, the whole of Slovenia, like I should be there. It felt like you're only really meant to be there if you're like doing a gig there or having some sort of work.
Or like a layover.
Or some reason to be there. So it felt weird.
You're being pretty harsh to the people of Slovenia right
now.
Well,
they were quite shocked that we were there. They were shocked.
Slovenian listeners.
Well, I looked at the stats and we don't have many.
0?
No, we got some.
Well, there you go.
It's not a high enough percentage that...
you don't care.
I think me slagging off Slovenia will get more listeners worldwide than I will lose by slagging off Slovenia.
Yeah.
But I actually love Slovenia. Beautiful country, beautiful people. But it did feel like walking in an open world video game. Because it's on the border with Italy and it's got like a weird combination of influences because it's right next to basically northern Italy, Hungary and the Balkans, but it was also on the edge of Soviet Russia because it's part of Yugoslavia.
A bit mismatchy.
So it's got this kind of... But then it's like you know, it's nicer than here. Like I thought it was going to be like run down and shit, really. But better roads, better buildings, better public transport. It all just seemed.
Where did you go in Slovenia?
Went to the capital, but then we went out into the countryside. We went to a beach town as well. So we went to a couple of places.
Was it sightseeing kind of thing? Or
we did the city thing, which is you just go around
sightseeing.
And it did just. It felt like it was just very. I couldn't really put my finger on it. Everyone was just kind of walking around like backgrounds of a video game, and there was this massive jazz thing happening at one night. This huge festival stage. It was clearly like it was the month of jazz in Slovenia, as you'd know.
Well, of course.
These guys are absolutely shredding it on this festival stage, and there's like maybe 180 people sort of vaguely gathered around, and they'd laid out seats for people to sit on if they wanted to. It's just like you could never do that in London. Like that would be
what do you mean?
It
have
felt
outdoor
like
jazz.
Yeah, but it just kind of free flowing. People there was no security. People were just kind of wandering in, and there was barely anyone there. So it was just it wasn't big. It wasn't packed. It was.
Well, I'm now a bit confused about the vibe of this jazz festival. Do you think jazz is big in Slovenia, or do you think it was people weren't that interested?
It was.
If there was 180 people there.
No, but that's what I mean. The whole city felt like there was no one there.
Wait, so in the city or at the jazz festival?
The jazz festival was in the middle of the city.
Yeah, but what felt that there was 180 people there? The jazz festival? Right.
In the city, there felt like there was more than 180 people.
Well, that's my question.
Yeah.
So do you think jazz is not big or?
No, it's more, nothing was busy.
Yeah. So, right. It was like a ghost town.
Yes. And it just felt like they'd earned the right to have nice things, where I don't think we have. I think we've lost the right to have nice things. It felt very much sort of just kind of, there was a lot of public trust that no one was going to be out of order. There was no rowdy utes. There was no tension.
What's Slovenia been up to in the last
I don't really know.
200 years?
I haven't got a clue.
Slovenia,
they were part of Yugoslavia.
Right.
So they're one of them ones. But then there were so many of them, it's hard to really know what each one does.
What each Slovenian?
What each state of Yugoslavia, what they bring to the table.
When was that? When did that split up?
90s, and there was a big war about it, wasn't it? Bosnian conflict, all of that.
Yeah,
Sarajevo.
We know all about that. Slovenia kind of go under the radar.
It's true, and I think I
don't know much about Slovakia either. If I'm being completely honest, and the only reason I bring the two of them together is because they start with the same two letters.
Yeah,
no, the same 4 letters. That's pretty crazy.
And they're right by each other. They're the same coloured.
Are they near each other?
Yeah.
Right. Is Serbia similar as well? I know more
Serbia,
about Serbia.
I think different vibe, because I think Serbia that they get stuck in. Like
they've had war shit.
Well, yeah,
they've had proper war shit.
When I think Serbia, I think kind of beating up homosexuals in the street.
Yeah,
it felt like that was kind of the vibe. Big hot, big meaty lads.
Yeah,
with nasty intentions.
Yeah,
but Slovenia didn't seem to know who they were either.
And did you not tell them?
Well, I didn't tell them who they were. I asked them, and they didn't really know.
You couldn't lend a hand.
They couldn't. They were kind of often quite shocked that we were there. I don't think there's a lot of British people. There's a lot of fat Germans who go there on holiday as a sort of budget holiday, and Germans get fat in a different way. They sort of, they in a way that I think British people have a schlubby fatness. I think when Germans get fat, it's sort of they swell.
Your obsession with obesity is getting out of hand. You talk a lot about the different kind of qualities of gaining weight.
Yes.
But so we'll jump into it anyway. Do you think the Germans are kind of firmer in their pork?
I think they swell. I think there's a bulbousness to a fat German.
But if you poked a German belly, it would be firm to the touch, whereas I think an English belly would be wobbly.
True. It's firm.
You are right.
And I wonder if it's all the
you think it's
the sausages. It's the sausages.
Do you think? Well, yeah, or like
what? Go on.
Yeasty beers and like kind of, I don't know.
Maybe something in there. You have to look at the ingredients of Weiss beer compared to an IPA
precisely.
Or whatever.
And what is there more yeast in that?
I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
We're not fucking losers.
But I would fund a think tank for that. If I had enough money, that's the sort of I would commission an academic study in a.
Who would you say? Who goes? What country goes the best fat, and what country goes the worst fat?
That's a great question. I think best fat.
I think Germany are in contention.
No,
is there not something jovial out? I think, historically speaking, and these are stereotypes that might still persist. Is that a thin German it just kind of comes off as a bit mean.
Yeah.
Whereas a fat German, you're like, I'm inviting him over for supper. Yeah.
Yeah. Sausage and Weissbier.
Yeah.
It takes off the edge of the kind of the recent history of Germany.
Yeah.
When they're fat, it makes them less threatening.
Yeah.
It feels like they couldn't.
That they won't be able to mobilise particularly quickly.
Because the one thing you always, and you kind of want, I think Germans have made more of an active decision in the last 60 years to get fatter as a nation, as a sort
PR
of
move.
Yeah, and as a sort of like a permissive, what's it called when you submissive move?
Reparations.
It's part of reparations. Like we'll promise that
we'll
get
eat too much bread.
So that you know that we couldn't enter our Lebensraum with a blitzkrieg.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, maybe that could have been part of the West's, or what is it? Not the Axis. The
what part in the
Yeah, it was like you guys, you've all got to get fat
because then they can't mobilise and take over
because it's like
Poland
you've done it twice now.
Yeah.
So for this time, you all have to be way too fat, so we know that you can't move very quickly.
So if Germany started World War III and it was similar level?
Yeah.
And then they lost.
Yeah.
What's punishment then? Because you know what I mean? That's a tough one.
I think that's a third strike year out.
Surely.
I think we're dividing it up.
Well, cutting it up.
Yeah.
Because we already tried that, but that was kind of a big failure.
Yeah, no, but like Germany ceases to exist.
Yeah.
Like everyone else gets a different piece of the pie.
But didn't that have loads of problems?
We didn't really try it up. We didn't, no, because it was still like Germany.
So they can't have that anymore.
No, Germany ceases to exist.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. Like, what do you want?
Like I mean, we've already gone over the fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, but fool me thrice.
Fool me thrice.
Then you no longer exist. No,
that's how the saying goes, isn't it?
I don't care how fat you guys get.
It's not. There is after World War III that you've caused.
If it was their fault,
there is no level of obesity that you can get to make me ever trust you again that you're not going to try and take over the world.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know what you'd do with the Germans. They'd have to become different nationalities.
Yeah, they'd have to. Yeah. You'd give them a choice between
Italian, French.
Yeah,
you have to choose.
Americans will probably get in there. Australian, but then well, they'd have to stay there. But so they can't stay there and all be like different nationalities. Instead of like it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
It's a tricky one, but it would be just that feeling of sitting down at the negotiating table. World War III, bigger than World War II.
Well, after the war's ended.
Yeah. And you're just like, lad.
I'm so sorry, but
like what the fuck? What do you want us to do?
You've left us with no choice. There is literally nothing we can do at this manner.
And it's interesting, that they're building up obviously against Russia.
Yeah. What? In their stomachs?
They're losing weight. And they're mobilising a little bit.
Never good when the Germans are losing weight.
It's true. And obviously, they've kind of been the good guys of the last 50 years. There's not really been any bad press about Germany.
No.
And they're kind of, now they're doing military expenditure to help defend against Russia.
Mm.
And it's a tricky one because it's an awkward...
Why?
You want them to... They need to be they're a good defensive line from Russia. Russia, who seem like the real threat.
You don't want them to be too powerful.
You can't. So it's because they just can't be trusted. They don't have it.
How many years will go by until they can be trusted again?
It's a tough one to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I guess like so many wars happened all the time.
Yeah. I'm going to
argue...
Historically.
So they need to have
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been we're not that far off 100 years.
But it still feels...
end of all of it.
It still feels like...
You've got to say 100 years we're chill. You've got to say that.
But then it feels like maybe what's different is World War II, I still feels sort of defines the world.
It was a world war.
Yeah. And it's still defined, like we still live in a post-World War II world, really.
Yeah.
It's still...
Yeah.
So as long as that's happening...
Right, so there needs to be another defining conflict before...
Probably, or something that real shift.
Well, it's tough for them because it's hard to have another world war without all of us dying now because of nuclear.
There's only one left in the canister anyway.
So for Germany, they must be a bit like, well, there's probably not going to be another world war like that, so we're just always going to be the guys who can't be trusted and we're forced to be obese. And I would have complaints if I was German.
If you're generationally, you've kind of, every generation you're moving further and further away from the Nazis and you'd feel pretty hard done by.
Yeah, no. If I was forced to be fat.
If I was forced to be fat and then maybe in the hamburger joints, the hamburger halls.
In Hamburg, the Hamburg halls.
In Hamburg. In a hamburger hall in Hamburg, maybe I'd start talking to my other fat Germans.
And saying,
we have been forced. Have you seen how skinny
Stand
Italians
up on the
are these
table. It
days?
doesn't have to be this way.
The table collapses because I was so fat.
Yeah.
And that only makes the crowd go angrier.
I'd be like, actually, I wish I could stand on tables.
None of us
Come
can
to think of it, I can't remember the last time I stood on the table without it collapsing.
And then this sort of building of resentment starts happening with these fat Germans all together. And
Yeah.
they're thinking, you know what? Maybe we should start secretly eating salads.
The embarrassing, but this is the point. This is the reason why after World War III,
Here's the rub.
Why after World War III we said everyone has to be fat, is because they can't. You know, they're going to have an obese army. Everyone in the army is obese.
Yeah.
We're going to wipe the floor with them, right? So we're going to hear about the rumblings of what's going on. This kind of uprising of Germans not wanting to live up to the reparations. But they've probably got to hit a 6-month kind of exercise class to try and slim down in order to prepare for the war, which gives us 6 months to kind of win.
I think.
So why it's actually the best reparation that you could possibly do.
But you got to remember, Germans are sort of, if anyone's built different, Germans are built different.
If every
they're
German
cut
is
off different-
obese,
they're cut from different stock.
remember, this is so we're talking. What are we? 2060 roughly after World War III, a few years after reparations, enough time for all of them to get fat. Every German in the country is obese
On a forced diet.
on
highly
a forced diet.
calorific.
It is vast. it is a vast annihilation of human rights
Yeah.
in every way.
But, well, 3 times.
Three times.
What'd
The
you
deaths
do?
that you cause. I'm going to make you eat a few more pieces of pork.
Yeah.
So, no, it's going to take them, but in the months it takes them to slim down, to
Yeah.
be fighting fit shape, then we can come in and win.
But what I see potentially happening is that the Germans are they're very technically skilled. They're highly intelligent
Yeah, but
nation.
not enough to go
I
from
think what
obese
they'd
to-
start doing is they'd be meeting in these sort of secret groups and discussing kind of ways that they can maybe rearm them. And then maybe in the basement of some of their houses, they start building these mini sort of labs, or just have secret
They've
labs.
got to come out. And we would see them
No,
slimming
because
down.
they're still going out to work.
We'd be like, hang
No,
on,
no.
hang on a minute.
Drew, you got it all wrong. They're not losing weight. They know that we're
They're
going to
not
be
losing
sharp.
weight.
No.
Right.
What they're
getting bigger.
What they're it's not going to matter with the plans they've got.
Right.
They're building. Have you seen Dr. Eggman from the
Yes.
Sonic?
Yeah.
So they're building machines like that.
Right.
That they
So
everyone.
every single German has this kind of floating egg device,
It's in their basement now. It's hidden.
and it's not yet floating out.
So
yet.
they're acting incredibly unsuspicious. Going to
yeah.
nom, 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 nom,
Yeah.
and we're like, good, check,
Yeah,
check.
yeah.
Have you eaten all your calories today? Check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then on a set date,
All of Germany flies up into the air.
there's these, the fat people in Wall-E. That's how I'm sort
In
of.
what?
The second half of Wall-E.
Say it again.
Wall-E.
One more time.
Wall-E.
Wally, like
Wall-E.
a wall.
Wall-E.
Wally.
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 It's not Wally.
Yeah, it's not.
Not like your great
Listen-
big Wally.
Yeah, it is, it's-
Your big fat Wally.
Yeah, it is. It's
Wall-E.
not Wally.
Wall-E.
It's not Wally. It's not like
Wall-E.
It's not describing something as a bit like a wall.
Wall-E.
Wally or Wally, because it's an American accent. How does he say it? He goes Wally, Wally.
Wall-E.
It's Wally, because it's meant to be a bit like, because it's an acronym, but it also could be a name, and Wally's a name.
How do you say Wall-E?
Well, not like that.
How do you say Wall-E?
Wally. You're describing something as if it's like a wall. That's not right. Are you doing that on Google Translate?
Let me do it slow.
How does he say it? How does he
I
say
got a
it?
video of him saying it.
Wally. Wally.
Wally.
Right there. How does she just say it? Go back to how.
I'm going to say
Ava.
how
Go
he
back
says.
No, because you can't. Well, then why didn't you go? Wait. Wally.
Wally.
Of course it's that.
It's not
Wall.
Wally. You said Wally.
Yeah, because that's an English accent. It's Wally. Wally.
Wally.
Wally. I've
Wally.
never heard one person call it Wally.
Wally.
Yeah, Wally.
They
English
call it
people call
Wally.
it Wally.
Wally.
It's not Wally.
Do you think it's Wally?
Wally.
Wally.
It's Wally.
Have you
100%
seen-
more than Wally.
Have you seen Wally?
No, I've seen people say Wally. Wally. Yeah.
Yeah. Wally.
I've never heard someone call it Wally.
Anyway, so the fat people from Wally.
Oh right.
Wally. Yeah.
Except that it's kitted out with like machine guns.
Yeah, so
and
it's much more
grenade
lethal.
launchers.
They're not lazy,
Yeah.
and that's how I think you could see.
Could
But
they-
that'd be World War IV, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. And
Yeah.
they've done it again. They've done it again. We beat them. What do we do this
I think
time?
it's inevitable. I think if Germany go to World War, it's sort of inevitable that it will look like they're going to win for a bit and then they'll lose. That's going to be every time Germany. They've just got it in their locker.
Yeah.
Because they're fighting the world, which is a tough enemy.
It's a big
And they do a great job.
Well, but they usually...
They come close. They always come close, which is mental.
Well, who do they get on board? The Italians and the Japanese.
Yeah. But, you know...
We're going to have to make them fat as well.
Yeah, but the Italians last time, they didn't really add much, and it wasn't the same. They were kind of hangers-on. It didn't feel like it was as much of a sort of ideological thing. But yeah, I think there would be... For World War IV, I think there would be a sort of clear rules that like any country that helps Germany will get the same treatment as being forced to be obese.
The obese treatment.
It would have to be.
Forced obesity.
Forced obesity, yeah. I mean, it's a good way
revolutionary,
of stopping people mobilising.
But it isn't. Because they'll just make flying egg things.
It's true.
Like Dr. Eggman.
It's true.
Well, speaking of flying egg things.
Go for it.
There's have you seen this news? You know, that there's like legit UFOs. They're out there.
Yeah, I have seen this.
Yeah. Well, it's like the US, basically, there's been a whistleblower. He's kind of a whistleblower. But there's the US government and Congress, or whatever, have
more of a flutesman.
Yeah, sure. Why? Because his words are more powerful? Well, you'd have to say a flute's a step up from a whistle.
Exactly. So it's a more complex, the secrets he's telling.
A more... Yeah, okay. Nonsense. No. I'd say he's not...
Because a whistleblower's just like...
No, he's not a flutesman.
Okay.
The man's not a flutesman. No, he's been... There's a guy who's been spearheading it. But basically, yeah, the whole US government and US Congress are they're changing their kind of... saying obviously it's deny kind of thing. But now there's like, I think I'm not sure where he was working, but he started to come out, and the US government have been like changing their tune, and they're allowing people to kind of come forth and speak about UFOs. But so they used to just like discredit anyone that would come out, whereas now they're not discrediting anyone. And there's an incredibly high chance that they found shit. You don't know how like legit it is, how advanced.
No, but I think they've said they found shit. I don't think that's even. Like,
I don't think they haven't said the US government haven't officially said they found shit. Otherwise, everyone would be going nuts.
They declassified a document that was a story of a couple of US fighter pilots saying that they were flying and they were convinced they saw.
Yeah, but there's been loads. Yeah, but that's just their account of it. That's not the US government saying we found shit.
Official aliens exist.
Or like we found shit. Well, no, because it's like, but there's. I was listening to a thing on it, and it's just like it's getting more and more to the place where they're letting people talk about it. Soon there will be kind of enough pressure for them to kind of come out and say what's going on.
Yeah, I'm certainly interested.
I'm game.
I mean, that's one of...
It could just be like a fucking, like a
balloon.
A box.
Yeah. What?
Just like a flight, like something that just, what is a UFO? Well, they're changing the name of it. It's like...
What, because it's politically incorrect?
Yeah.
UFO.
To our alien friends, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea what they're changing the name.
But UFO can just mean anything.
Exactly.
So it doesn't have to be...
If I jumped off a roof, I could be an unidentified flying object.
For a short period, before you go...
Like, what's that? For that 2 seconds, before they go, that's a human, I'm a UFO. So, because I guess a bit of fucking space rock is UFO.
Yeah.
I want a door and a steering wheel.
Doesn't get.
I suppose so. I suppose so. I guess that's the end of that conversation.
No, I mean, I did... There's a lot of stuff clearly from the 60s that they were lying about. Yeah. And a lot of that stuff slowly being declassified. Yeah. There's all that stuff that's pretty... I'm pretty sure it's actually true that like they were experimenting with acid, and that acid was created by the US government, and then that's why Charles Manson.
Well, that's Charles Manson,
and all that sort of stuff.
Well, that's different.
There's all of that sneaky shit.
That's very different.
And then that's slowly coming out.
But that's the US government covering up bad shit they did, whereas this is a bit like we're not going to tell the world about UFOs in case that kind of causes some bad shit. But apparently it's because the technology is like they've started validating US, like a lot of fighter pilots, but they used to not come out and say it because they would lose their license. They'd be taken away. They'd be called nuts, and they'd lose their licenses. But now it's like more and more people are saying, coming out and being like, the only reason I didn't say it is because I would have lost my license. But now they're kind of more relaxed about it. And it's like the technology or something that they can kind of prove shit with, where it's kind of pretty like legit. This is happening. I just wonder what they are, because if it comes out as like, I want it to be something from another planet has made something to come here. If it's not that, who gives a fuck?
What if it's just like debris?
I don't care about space rock.
No.
That's controversial because a lot of people really care about space rock.
Do they?
Yeah.
Is there a big space rock fan group?
Didn't say big, but the people who care about space rocks really care about space rocks.
Yeah, I guess so.
Brian Cox cares a lot about space rocks.
He does. But there's people who care about normal rocks.
Exactly.
So, of course, you're going to care about space rocks.
Correct.
You care a lot about normal rocks.
Didn't say it was a big group. Just saying I know there's some people who care about space rocks a lot.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of information we can get from space rocks, but if I was to look at a space rock, I wouldn't be able to get the same information as Brian Cox would get out of the space rocks. So to me, a space rock is useless. A space rock in the wrong hands is just like having, a normal rock in the right hands.
I would like, it'd be great if aliens were like just low IQ humans, like comedically. So they're basically the same as us.
Yeah.
So which in many ways is a very intelligent life form. But they just stand out as being just quite thick.
Well, yeah.
So they come down and they're just, they're constantly having gaffes. They constantly
or just falling over.
There's a lot of falling over.
Yeah.
There's a lot of they're not quick learners.
Do they look like us?
They look almost identical to us.
Right.
Their eyes are a bit further apart.
Okay.
Or have them as a sort of it would be fun if they were like green with like 3 eyes and they went meow meow.
Yeah, well, if they were exactly as a few people predicted in the 70s, they were just drawing.
The first idea of an alien was completely spot on.
Absolutely bang on.
But they're not going to look like that. They're going to look fucking weird. I think I'd be pretty disappointed if in my life I don't get to see aliens.
Well, you're not. Well,
it's very unlikely.
Get to see one. No, of course.
Then what are these UFOs then?
Well, that's not an alien. It's not like. Right, well, if there was an alien driving, yeah, it could be. It could be. That's the whole point. We have no idea what it actually is. But a UFO could be like a thing, like us sending a satellite off to a planet. Like the Mars rover doesn't contain us, but it's like it's something that's being created by another planet to go and explore another planet.
Yeah. I've with kind of material for the podcast and in general, I've found myself quite desperate to find anything to write stand up about. And I got my dad, who often can misread news articles. So I've had a couple of things where I've thought I've had a great stand up bit, but it's actually just been my dad's misunderstood an article. And so on this trip, my sister and my dad, who are super into the news, are often talk about the news, and I'm so out of the loop.
Yeah.
Shockingly, irresponsibly so, to have a podcast which is shaping young minds. I really should.
True, yeah.
We really should be more up to date.
I'm better now.
You up to date? What makes you stay on top? What's your thing?
I just listen to like live radio nowadays when I'm working.
Like an LBC dad, like a taxi. You're like a
Well, it's
you're
actually
like an opinionated taxi driver.
No, I'm actually very down the middle with a lot of things. But I just listen to people who have very strong and crazy opinions, which is quite fun.
Yeah, my dad listens to those like centrist cringe podcasts, like The Rest Is Politics, the Alistair Campbell one.
Yeah.
And the News Agents, which
well,
is pretty
it's a good way.
News Agents is pretty good.
Yeah, I've listened to a few news agents. It's a good way to stay in the loop with things.
But then he said that at this tech conference, which I think a lot of Tories were at, I think that's why I was in the news, they were talking about women in tech or women in business. And he said, "Whoa, this is crazy," from this one speaker. Basically, he was setting her up as this sort of right-wing female speaker, saying it's ridiculous how much women get off work for having period cramps and period pains, because you couldn't apply the same to a man if, for example, he had a super painful erection. And immediately I was like, that's one of the best things I've ever heard, because I just love the idea that the equivalency is fascinating.
I'll be taking an hour off every day.
I don't know, how do you call in for that? Is that that's a mental thing? Also, if you do have a painful erection, it's more implying men with painful erections still have to come in. But if your erection doesn't go down, you shouldn't come in.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be coming in with your most.
But that's fair. If you had a super painful erection that lasted for 8 hours, then you should absolutely get that off work.
That's what I was
There
thinking.
is no way you should be able to expect to go in.
What Dad made it seem like she was saying.
If you have an erection from 8 hours and it's not super painful, I think you should still be allowed the time off work to go and get that sorted out. If you haven't taken Viagra and you've had a consistent erection for 8 hours, get yourself to a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
And that's advice for all you young nipper snappers out there.
So he was saying it up as saying it's ridiculous that women... This speaker was saying it's ridiculous that women can get time off of that because it wouldn't be the same applying, for example, the men's version of PMS.
Was it that? Do you think she'd thought about that, or had that just come to her head?
Well,
like,
sadly, it's not true.
Yeah.
So it's all null and void.
So
how did he? I was starting to write a bit about it because I was like, "This is amazing."
What did he say?
And then,
what did it actually? What was the truth?
The truth was just the opposite, where she was saying, basically, there's not enough focus
on painful erections,
on period cramps, and that we don't take women's
So where did he get the phrase painful erection from?
That's now I'm thinking about it. I don't actually know.
That's what I need to know. How can he? What do you mean? What do you mean? How I get you. You might understand, like misunderstand the kind of focus of a news article. Still pretty fucking easy.
Following a full house for a session on championing purpose-driven innovation, there was a noisy stampede of men leaving the room. This was the bit. Perhaps the title of the next discussion, from fertility to menopause, the role of companies in women's health, put them off. So basically, as soon as
all the men left.
Left immediately. Immediately. And Alex Mahon, chief
no shame whatsoever.
Yeah, just
nah.
What's that about? Yeah,
not for us. That's fucking funny.
Alex Mahon, man. Chief executive of Channel 4.
Fucking idiots, honestly. Not even a modicum of desire to think about something that doesn't immediately affect them.
Fannies?
No, we've got knobs.
And then Alex Mahon, chief executive of Channel 4, on stage for the chat, called them out. So he called them out. So it's calling out the people leaving, and quipped that talking about periods at work is the equivalent to a man having to phone up their boss and saying, I've got a painful erection, I can't come in. Oh, I see. That makes sense. So she's saying the awkwardness of having to call up is the same. So that makes sense. So that's what it was. I was annoyed because I thought she was saying we don't take painful erections seriously enough.
Yeah, no.
Which would have been a dream.
It would have, yeah.
But
maybe someone should say that.
Maybe, this plight. And is that the male...
I don't know how prevalent
is that the male period pain? The painful erection?
Look, that's a tough question.
Yeah, it's a big question.
It's got to be something to do with your knob.
Yeah.
Your todger or your danglers.
Itchy balls. You can't not come in.
Not enough. No. Not enough.
There's no real...
There just isn't really anything, is there?
But I like that... I don't know how...
consistency. Have you ever had an erection that's painful enough that you might consider it akin to period pain?
No.
Because neither have I.
Have you not had a painful erection? No.
You can have like a throbber if you've been going for a while.
I sometimes have an erection in the morning when I need a piss, and that can be
frustrating
because
you've got to do like the bend down. Yeah. Like you've got to, it's impossible.
Or you have to reach a non-sexual zen-like state where your penis relaxes.
Your penis relaxes.
Where your penis sits down and just takes it.
You mean go soft?
Well, it's just in the morning. It's up. It's fucking feisty.
Well, when you do like that and you've got a bend, mine always like dips into the toilet and like it touches the toilet.
So are you not waiting for it to go down a bit?
There's sometimes where I'll be there for ages and I just really need a wee.
So, but would you piss fully extended?
I have done.
And does that mean that you're sort of helicoptering the toilet bowl? Where
I'm not lying horizontal on the bowl. No. How do you do it? You can do it like that.
Yeah, one of them. And it's never a good stream. I feel.
No, they can be some of the best streams.
Oh, really?
Well, I did it. There was, for some reason, I had an erection in the woods, and I can't tell you why.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, I don't have to bend here. I can just let it go.
And how was that?
Fucking brilliant.
It was just blasted.
Maybe the best piss of my life, if not the best. I think it was the best piss of my life. Because it's like, you can imagine... with an erection, everything's kind of heightened a bit. It's like there's more because you're pumping way more blood through there, so you can feel it feels better when you have an erection, obviously. Yeah. So when a piss is like coming, pissing is also great. So science, check it out.
Yeah.
So, but if you
you had much more of a.
It was.
You had up.
Yeah, because you.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so.
knob
yeah,
up,
it's
pee
not
up.
going, yeah.
Honestly, you'd be surprised.
It
Have
nearly hit
a
your
go.
face.
Have a go. We've got the cemetery part. Don't do it near any of the graves. But just go out in the woods.
Yeah.
When you need a piss and you've got an erection, run out there and then take your trousers down and let it go. Be careful it doesn't go in your face.
I can't come into work today. I've got an incredibly painful erection.
No, but you can imagine. And I think honestly, it's coming head height.
Yeah.
If you're forcing it out, it's coming head height, if not over.
Were you doing it hands behind your head?
Oh yeah, I was hands free. Certainly, I don't know if I had the confidence to put them behind the head. I think I was still loosely concerned someone might see me.
Yeah,
because you
don't want to be caught.
No, that's if you get caught having a public urination, that might be a caution. If you get caught having a piss in the woods with an erect cock with your hands behind your head, you're going immediately on the sex offenders register. Yeah. There's no chance that you're coming back from that.
I'm just going to nip off for a quick piss and then.
Andrew, is there Oh my God. Yeah, there's very few people I'd want to see.
Do you think maybe for a mental health thing, you would enjoy having a higher toilet bowl?
Yeah. Would
that be practical? If money was an issue, would you have like an erection toilet bowl?
Well, sometimes when knob hits the on a shallower toilet, it'll hit the not the water, not quite the water, but definitely the side of the bowl. Yeah, it's very cold.
But I'm just thinking about a way that you could be as free in your own bathroom to piss with an erection.
Well, no, you need a toilet on the ceiling.
Well, it needs
that sucks the water up.
Suck it up.
Yeah, so if you have like a Hoover, you need a knob Hoover. So have you seen those clothing? There's instead of a wash basket, there's like houses, like higher tech houses where there's little suction stations. Mm. I know what you're thinking. It's not like that. Not like that. Don't test it out like that. So, but you open it up and it's like. And you put your clothes in there. You put your dirty pants in there.
Yes, I have seen those. Yeah.
What you need is one for when you have an erection and need a wee.
Yeah.
Which isn't irregular. It's not
irregular.
It's not irregular at all. Yeah. So it's like a hose on the ceiling.
Yeah.
That you come down and you can kind of attach it to your knob. Straight on you attach it to your knob and then you can just wee standing like that.
It needs to have a good fold up thing because you don't want it dangling down.
You can just wee like that.
Yeah. Because just think about the women in your life. You don't want, while they're sat down, you don't want the knob Hoover sort of dangling down.
No, obviously the knob Hoover is retractable. I'm not saying the knob Hoover just flaps about in the summer breeze in the ceiling. No, of course. And then sucks it all up, puts it wherever the toilet water goes, and then you click it back into place.
Mm. No, that's a good.
And then put the lid on.
Yeah, I think we need to work out the technology of sucking piss.
I think that's pretty simple technology.
You could suck piss.
What are you talking about? Like that's not.
It's just like a vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's gonna. If I had money, enough money to make it. It's Dragon's Den. If I had enough money to make it and I pitched it on Dragon's Den, I'm not sure they're going to be saying the problem with this is the science. I think they might have some other problems with the knob.
I just love the knob. Hi, Dragons.
Hold on. I'm Andrew Cohen and I'm the CEO of Piss Hoover.
No, but it would also, you'd have to have that. You know
when you have an erection and you need a wee, it's not irregular, is it, Peter? Well, fear no more, because with the sorry. And when you have to bend over and it kind of hits the bowl a bit, and then it ruins the stream.
Would you have a normal toilet on show?
No, I'd go in with an erection and needing a wee.
So you wouldn't have a fake erection?
No,
it'd be the real deal.
No, it'd be like, and then I'd do the pitch and I'd go, "Let me explain, or let me show you."
Yeah.
Knob out. And they've installed like a thing, and then I piss into it.
I feel you'd have
and
two.
And then your suggestion is that they'll go, the problem with that is the science.
Yeah.
We don't have enough. We've invented the Hoover. Why wouldn't a Hoover be able to
I just don't know if
suck up some wee?
Suckering up. Yeah, maybe. I guess it's just Hoover.
It's very simple.
It's just Hoover technology.
It's just suction.
I mean, Dyson, it could be something that Dyson would do a great job at it.
I don't want to get James involved.
You don't want to get James Dyson involved?
He'll make it to like fucking, I don't know, sleek.
What do you think?
I want it to be horrible.
You don't want to sleep. You know, I like a Dyson Piss Hoover.
He won't want to call it the Piss Hoover. He'll want to call it like
the piss blade.
Air piss. Air piss technology.
Using our famous air piss
technology.
I think if in the Dragon's Den pitch, you'd want a normal toilet saying, "This is how men used to."
Why don't we go in together?
So
both have erections. You try and piss into the normal toilet with your erection.
I'm helicoptering.
And you go, oh no! And you piss all over yourself.
Pissing in my mouth. I'm pissing in my mouth. Like,
and I'm there going. With the Piss Hoover, with a massive erection, by the way. With the Piss Hoover,
is it bigger than mine?
Yeah.
I don't know what sells it more. You probably want.
Yeah, the bigger the. Well, come on, sex sells.
Yeah, sex.
Particularly with the Piss Hoover.
Because you want to see yourself as the guy with the big erection.
Exactly. And
I got a small erection, but I'm still pissing all over.
It's everywhere. Oh no. And I'll go, and then you. Then
what are you wearing? Because you're also trying to sell a lifestyle.
No, we're wearing business attire.
Oh, so I didn't know if it's like I'm dressed up all dorky, and then you've got like a leather jacket on.
I do all the talking, but you come in without saying anything. It's kind of weird. It's been a while, and
if I was a dragon,
they're kind of questioning why are you there, and then you go, and then when I go, look, every man has to go through this.
Yeah.
When they have an erection, they need to go for a wee. Trying to go into a normal toilet, that's where you hit zip. And you take your trousers down, revealing the erection, and you're trying to put it in whilst I'm talking, and then you piss on yourself. And
yeah.
And I go, but that's the thing of the past with the Piss Hoover. Zip, take down mine. Simply click from the ceiling with the detachable and retractable nozzle. It's not just going to flap in the breeze the whole time. Attached to knob, and then there's a kind of a dial that changes the size depending on the girth of your penis.
Okay.
Attach that.
Would you say you go like having a girthy penis? I set it to large.
Exactly. So it's every man can fit into it regardless of size. We don't discriminate. And then you simply press this button, and then piss. And then when you're done, there's a kind of drip-proof lid at the top.
Yeah.
Clip that on.
Yeah.
Touch it in, kind of click it. There you go. Piss Hoover.
Do you know, if I was a dragon, the first question I'd ask is...
We can run
all
it. Right. I've got all the answers.
So, Andrew.
Yes.
Love the pitch. I struggle with this issue a lot. If we're talking demographics, marketing, who do you see as... Who is a Piss Hoover consumer? Who is the archetypical Piss Hoover consumer?
Part of the genius of the Piss Hoover is that it's for any man that can get an erection.
Really? You don't think there's going to be a core demographic?
I think generally it will probably lean towards younger men who wouldn't be embarrassed to have a Hoover for their erections in the bathroom. But you might have bachelors in there who don't. I think the biggest problem that we'll come across is men who have women in their lives or girlfriends that they live with.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
I do understand the limitations of the products because I do think that a wife might have some objections to installing a Piss Hoover in her upstairs bathroom. I see that.
Do you think it's jealousy led?
Yes, I think it's. I wish I could. Sorry, apologies, Peter.
No, sorry. Go ahead. Actually,
jealousy led. Yes, absolutely. Because I think all women know that pissing with an erection is one of life's many pleasures.
And then is there an Aussie one? Who's the Aussie? Oh, I'm coming out the scene. Is there an Aussie dragon?
There can be.
Is there a dragon with the? There's a dragon with
I
the. I
haven't watched dragons.
Well, one of them he's like,
yeah.
You got a poop Hoover?
No.
You got a poop Hoover?
No, and it's not something we'll consider.
Because do you not find that you get your shit on the ceiling?
I'd be happy for you to talk to my R&D team if you wanted to kind of develop a personalised product. But
because I feel the bigger problem with men isn't erections in the morning.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you keep shitting on the ceiling.
Can I ask how you poo, sir?
Well, it's a normal thing. I get out of bed.
Yeah.
Normally, I have a nice glass of water just because I'm very dry.
Yeah.
I have a very dry mouth.
Yeah.
And
yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay.
So after I've had my glass of water,
yeah.
I have a very dry mouth.
How do you poo? Don't need anything.
I then go to my toilet and then I grab myself round the ankles, leaning forward
whilst you're standing.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I try and arch my back so that I am sort of
sitting on the toilet?
No, I'm standing.
Of course.
Standing up, maybe half a metre away from the toilet.
Yeah.
And then I just blast shit on the ceiling.
Right, yeah.
I just make like a Jackson Pollock of my ceiling.
Yeah, I know it's not common for the entrepreneur to say this, but I don't want you to invest in mine. I respect your business credentials. However, I don't think you're the right fit for this product.
Let's spitball an idea. What about another Hoover next to the Piss Hoover?
Yeah.
That when you can pull down, you can just clip onto your asshole.
How have I become the straight man? How have I become the straight man when I'm selling a Piss Hoover?
Okay. So I also think the women in your life, they don't want you to be happy, and seeing you smugly pissing into a piss hoover, I think that over the years that would start.
Men have had it so easy, and now it's getting even easier.
Do you not think you need a his and hers sort of product?
Well,
do you not think
would women go? No, they don't have any of the same problems.
Well, they do.
Urination-wise.
Well, they do, which is they have to sit down when they pee.
Well, so you could use the piss hoover to stand and just attach.
It's a type of shiwi, but if you could sort of like a Dyson level shiwi would be great.
Look, do women really want to stand up?
What about this?
Do they really want to stand up that much to pee in their own bathroom? Many men sit down. There was a study.
This has turned into a pitch.
33% of men, roughly, sit down to wee.
Do you sit down to wee?
No,
never.
I at a festival when I'm like fucked, I'll take a moment.
Take a knee.
It's like or like at a party if I kind of fancy a breather. Or like, if I fancy a breather, if I'm taking 5, obviously, I'm not going to stand because then it's over too quickly.
Oh, I see. You want to.
If I just want to like have a break from everyone or everything
from life,
I'll sit down and enjoy a sit down with.
Yeah, people are big into. I've never really delved into it. I guess because I've got places to be. I guess.
Yeah, no, you're a busy man. You're a busy man. There's no time to sit, as I've always said about you.
Elon Musk in his autobiography talked about training himself to get. His round piss time down to 10 seconds or like less.
What a prick.
What? Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But also, I love the idea of him running in there. Just he's pissing before he's getting it out.
Also, how do you go into training for that?
I don't know.
Where'd you begin that program?
Well, he's got a lot of money.
Well, what could that buy?
Anything.
A larger urethra.
Well, I just mean it could buy. There's going to be someone who does piss training. Doing Kegels to have a stronger bladder muscles.
There's no one out there
off the top of my head.
Yeah, which is you're a bit of an expert in this area. No.
Also, back on the for hers piss hoover.
Yeah.
What about? And this is in the infomercial. Okay, maybe your wife, and it's like this stereotypical wife.
Why does he get to piss like that? I'm gonna piss when I'm turned on too, but you can
we give her
a
fake erection, so it's like a plastic cock that goes into the vagina, and then she uses the piss hoover as well.
But look, the whole basis of this business idea was saying that one, it's a regular problem that men have, because you've got to angle the dick into the toilet. But two, that it could actually be great because pissing with an erection freely feels really good.
Yeah.
It doesn't. We're not hitting. So the problem doesn't exist for women, nor does the joy of pissing upwards exist for women. So I can't. So you think it would just be to include them, and that'll be enough for them to be like, all right, fine.
You know, when you're driving and when dads are driving and they give their kids a fake steering wheel so they could feel like they're doing it as well. That's how I'd sell it.
Right. So it's at the last it's in the last minute of the infomercial.
Yeah.
It's that, and now introducing
as a side product
the women's piss hose. And it's the two of them doing it together.
Feeding left out.
Both with their hands behind their heads. Just enjoying it.
You know, that to me, couples who piss hoover together stay together. That to me is a very healthy.
Well, yeah, and you don't need 2 toilets for it.
Well,
another benefit about the piss hose.
You could stack toilet. Piss hoover.
Another benefit about the piss hoover is that, we can, if you've got a piss hoover and a toilet, both need a wee, no problem.
What's the jingle for the TV advert?
Da-da-da-dung, piss hoover.
Piss hoover.
Well, you can't just take Dannon.
We're a bit of a fucking rock and roll company. We're getting lawsuits left, right, and centre. We've stolen Dannon.
Dannon.
Piss hoover.
Piss hoover. You don't want
my little piss hoover, my little piss hoover.
What for kids?
My little piss hoover. And also
a kid's range.
Yeah. Be like dad.
Be like dad.
And you have your own mini piss. So when you go into bathrooms, you now have 3 Hoover retractable because you got his, hers, and
dad.
Little.
His, hers, and dad. Yeah. No, his, hers, and son.
And
and daughter.
Daughter as well. There's 4 of them.
So I guess we can start scaling up the market that we're selling it to.
Yeah, but I reckon she could use your Piss Hoover because it's more the cock.
What I also reckon is probably not going to work.
Do you not think?
Nah,
no,
probably not.
I just would love the Dragon's Den. I'd love the Dragon's Den pitch, but you know when they're kind of nervous beforehand.
Yeah,
and there's sort of like
them getting
and
interviewed. They talk to that guy.
I'd like the idea of sympathizing with. Yeah, so they speak to the guy.
That guy.
What, the bald? Is he bald?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very sweet.
You start sympathizing with him because he's like, I'm nervous, but I just don't know if they're going to like it. And he's like, I'm sure you're going to be great. And then
seeing him watch it on the monitor of me.
And you, as the audience.
If you take down your trousers with an erection and try and piss into a toilet but end up pissing all over your face. Him just being like...
Because the audience, after you've seen them in the interview beforehand, you're rooting for him. You're like, oh, he's nervous.
Isn't he sweet? Yeah.
Isn't he sweet?
Well, but bear in mind, it's the two of us. But it was just a torso shot, so you couldn't see, and you see us come in, and it's like, oh, you're rooting for them, and you see the dragons kind of go, what? And you don't see why yet, and then eventually it's slowly revealed.
Yeah,
we've got two raging erections.
What I would do,
we always had.
I would have optical illusion trousers, so straight on, you can have no idea I've got it. It's only when I turn to the side that I reveal my raging erection.
Well, so now we have to also invent optical illusion trousers.
No, I didn't know. You can wear pants with a pattern where it's hard to distinguish. Sort of, if there's a
you can make erection. You could wear trousers with a drawing of an erection, so it's almost like that's not
hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. So it'll be like, oh, that drawing's so good. That's actually the best idea.
And then would you
That's
comment?
the best idea we've had this podcast.
Do you think you'd comment on it?
It's the best way to hide an erection.
Would you be like, check out my hyper-realistic drawing of an erection on my trousers?
I'd go, ignore that. I'm not selling these. I'm selling something different. Just for now, ignore that.
Next season.
No, and then I actually had an erection the whole time.
Yeah.
But we're not selling that.
Too. We've now come to the end of the episode, so thank you very much for listening. We're going to move over to Patreon. We'll be in Glastonbury this week, but that won't affect you guys at all.
No, well, we'll debrief when we're back. It won't affect.
See you then.